Hey guys, welcome back. Takashi here. Today we're playing Crimson Gray. Now this is a game I have played before, so unfortunately this is not a first time playthrough, but it has been quite a long time since I have played it. I did consider Let's Playing it originally on my channel, but I was worried that it may have not safe for work content in it. But fortunately it did not, at least I don't remember it having any in it. If it does, we can always go back and just take that out. It's all fine and dandy. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get the game started. Okay, so let's see. You've unlocked at least one bonus from previous games, so therefore, yeah, I've played it. These will make positive outcomes more likely and negative outcomes less so. Do you want to play with those bonuses? Sure, let's do that. And then we can play, if we want to go back, we can play it with the original balances. I think I got a good outcome the first time, though. It's a little bit complicated because I think I got several routes, but there's some underlying things in the game that are very complex. The second game will have some actual good endings, though, and I'll definitely play that one as well. But let's start here. John had always thought of himself as a stable person. Stability worked out well when he was just trying not to let the little things get him down. It wasn't so great when everything was crumbling around him. When the entire world started seeming gray and flat, then he began wondering. He began wondering if all the stability would kill him. And if he would care when it did. There weren't any highs or lows anymore. Whatever happened to him, John didn't feel happy or sad. He just... Hey, what are you doing spacing out, man? You're a real head case these days, John. You gonna float away on us? Sorry, just distracted. A moment later, he started drifting away again. Even his friends' voices were nothing but buzzing in his ears, meaningless sounds echoing in his hollow shell. They weren't even really his friends, and they were friends with the happy-go-lucky person he'd been at the beginning of high school. These days, they joked about him being no fun, but it was more than a joke. They'd get tired of him, find someone else, and then he'd be alone. He wasn't sure whether or not that would be worse. What would be worse? Whoa! Is that creepy chick staring at us? Oh, sorry, right-clicked. I think she is. Who is that anyway? Lizzie Dose. Doss, I think, actually. I think, and are you, right? John, doesn't she have math with you or something? It took John a second to even register the question. They were staring at some girl who was staring back at them. Oh, come on, why do they think she's creepy? Look, she's a really nice girl. I mean, granted, I know the issues that she has, because I played the game, but, you know, first appearance, she looks really nice, right? She looks like a nice, pretty girl. She looked the same as all the other girls at their school. All the girls look the same? I think you might be going to Clone High. But actually, no, Clone High, they weren't all the same. They weren't actually all clones of the same person. It's a good show, you should check it out, but, okay, Shire maybe. She could probably hear them talking about her. He wanted to say something, but kept silent. Damn, she really is staring. Is she staring at us or John? I think it's him. You think she's a stalker? Yeah, those are some crazy eyes. You better watch out, John. You're a real sad sack these days, but you can do better than her. Shut up. These words were past his lips before he could stop them. Why did he have to open his mouth now of all times? But he couldn't let them keep talking about her like that. People called him creepy or crazy all the time, and he hated it. But after those two words, he just stood there like an idiot. Even when something mattered to him, he couldn't pull himself together. What's wrong with you, man? Don't say things like that about people you don't know. She's just hanging out up here like we are. No. She's giving us some serious crazy eyes. Just leave her alone, okay? She hasn't done anything to you. Sheesh, okay, man. You think she's going to fall in love with you as her handsome protector or something? That'd be just like John. You want to talk to the crazy girl? Be our guest. We're heading back to class. Don't wait up, man. The way her eyes moved, John thought that she was focused on him so intently that she might not have even heard what the other said. Did it even bother her? He wished he could be like that, instead of the smallest thing sending him crashing into a state of worthlessness. But maybe she was like him, just capable of hiding it. John cleared his throat and walked up to check on her. Hey, sorry about them. They can be assholes sometimes. Well, I guess I don't have a lot to say. Sorry if we bothered you. John slunk away and cursed his own idiocy. She had been fine without him. He just made everything worse. There had been something hard in her eyes. Strength he didn't have. He had probably been projecting all his weaknesses onto her in the first place. She wasn't like him, wasn't broken. She could shrug off the things his friends had said and get on with her life. At least, that meant she could shrug off his annoyance too. She'd probably just forget all about him. Thank you. You're so kind. Such a kind person. The kindest person. Only to me. The only person. Sorry, I said it's only to me. I sometimes read ahead without looking properly. By the way, I love... One thing I love about I know how some people like Ahegao faces. But for me, I like Yandere faces, okay? They're just so lovely. I mean, if a girl gives you that smile, you know she's a real keeper. If you don't mind everyone you know and love being murdered. Or not. Some of them you can save, and we'll see if that's one of them. I may have played this before, so again, I'm trying not to spoil. That may be possible, and this one may not be. Who knows? I found you. I finally found you. I found you, you! Crimson Gray. The teacher's voice was incomprehensible, but John knew he must be picking it up on some level. He wasn't sure how, but even though he stumbled through every day, he was doing okay in school. He could seem normal whenever he wanted to. It just didn't feel worth it. And that was almost the worst part. He seemed normal even though nothing was normal anymore. It wouldn't ever be normal again. What did Miss Smith say? High-functioning depression? Such an awful, empty phrase. At least class was over now. He could go home, sleepwalk through his assignments, and then fall unconscious, at least for a few hours. He could... Then he became aware of her. She was watching him. Maybe she wanted to thank him. No. He was being stupid. He'd done nothing worth thanking. More likely she wanted to say something... She wanted something from him. Or, most likely of all, maybe she didn't care about him, and he was imagining the whole thing. She was still staring, though. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually, let's move our save page so we're not saving over my old saves. We're actually going to the very end, because that's going to be easy to remember. So we could smile at her, we could go talk to her, but I'd prefer to go talk to her. Let's just go ahead and say, go up and talk to her. Can I help you? If this is about before, I'm sorry. I just wanted to help. She looked really uncomfortable. Of course, she probably hated him as much as everyone else. Running in shame, John decided to cut his losses. Well, I'm sorry to bother you. I'll be going. He needed to get his appointment. Anyway, he needed to get to his appointment anyway. He didn't want Miss Smith getting mad at him again. Miss Smith was one of the only people John could focus on. He wasn't sure how much good she actually did him, aside from prescribing medicine, but at least she tried to help. Or so he thinks now. Again, we may not be able to trust everyone, right? John, you're not looking so bad today. Did something happen? You're not looking... Yeah, not looking so bad. So in other words, he's like looking better than usual. A boy your age ought to be more interested in girls. Are you dating someone? No, I can't focus on people. Maybe I could prescribe you something for that. We don't have any on hand now, but I could get it quickly. That's an advantage of having Koi Tech in town. I don't want to take this medicine anymore. I don't think it's working. The Paxtine? But that's the first one you've really responded to. I feel worse. Everything is so gray. Voices just echo. Can't I go back to the generic medicine? John, you need to understand that you are deeply, clinically depressed. It's my professional opinion that you should under no conditions go off your medication. When you're getting used to the medication, there can be some initial side effects. Sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better, okay? Okay. Yeah, that's totally believable, lady. I totally trust you. Yeah, totally. All he heard was that he was too broken for any drug to fix. He was so worthless, even the newest drugs from Koitek didn't do anything. I'll renew your Paxitine prescription and see about getting you a complimentary drug. We'll figure this out together, John. We'll figure this out yet, John. Also, don't mind the part about being John again. It's just a common name. It's totally not a coincidence that Cold, the one from A Cold Love Story, also was named John. No, totally a coincidence, guys. No. It's definitely not planned. No. Now, why don't you lie down over there, and we can begin our session. Good, and get comfortable. Did anything special happen during the day today? No, it was a normal day. The therapy session quickly fell away into a meaningless buzz. For a short time, at least, he didn't feel the emptiness. Finally, or too soon, it was over. Miss Smith told him he was doing well and sent him on his way. John slumped back home. The house was empty, like it always was. Ever since his mother left, his father spent all his time working. He did his homework, he ate, he cleaned the dishes, he sat down in front of the TV and stared at it without turning it on. Somehow, he dragged himself into bed and fell asleep. The routine used to be comforting, but now it was starting to erode his sanity. His mind had to crack eventually. Maybe it was already happening. For a second, he thought he saw a girl out of the window. But no, there was nothing. Of course there wasn't. He really was losing it. Another day. He had to face it somehow. It seemed impossible until the moment he finally stumbled into class. School was the usual mindless buzz, and there was a job fair announced in third period. As if that meant anything at all. Almost everyone in their school would either go to work for Koitek, move away, or stay in town and become unemployed. I'm pretty sure there's more jobs in town than just a pharmacy or a drug company. I don't know if it's called a pharmacy, if it's actually like them producing it. But a drug lab, whatever you want to call it, that might sound kind of bad. But these guys, sorry, that's one thing I don't mind spoiling. It's Koitek. You can probably already tell from now. They aren't exactly the best company. We'll get into detail about how bad they are later. John wondered which one of those would happen to him, but from a distance, as if he was thinking about some person he barely knew. His grades were good enough to get into Koitek, but the process was so competitive. No, he didn't have enough energy for that. He couldn't imagine moving away, looking for a job in a strange city. Most mornings, the most he could imagine was surviving the day, but his father wouldn't support him, and his mother didn't want him. Once he graduated, there'd be no way he could stay with either of them. What would happen to him, then? Would he just become homeless? Sit there on the street, begging for change, until one night he froze to death? Maybe that was all he deserved. John, you're right. Sorry, sir. I'm paying attention, honestly. I didn't ask that. I asked if you were alright. I'm fine. Well, be sure to talk to the counselor if you're feeling bad, alright? We're lucky to have someone like Miss Smith with us. He had to keep it together. He remembered the lessons. But if people were starting to think something was wrong, his control was slipping. He had enough time to visit his locker in between periods. There was more Paxitine there. He still had an extra dose left for the day. His locker was on the bottom row, so he always had to bend down, and there was a piece of paper sitting in the middle of his locker. Cheer up. That was all it said. Nothing on the backside. No other clues. Probably a girl's handwriting. Who left it? Hey, did you see anyone messing with my locker? Huh? Did something get stolen? There's no way guys around here there's way too many guys around here for me to notice. It might have been a girl leaving a note. Like a love note? Keep dreaming, John. You think any girl's going to love your sorry ass? No, of course. No one could love him. So, you didn't see anyone. Okay, thanks. Hey, John. You going to tell me she's a Canadian? I'm heading back to class. See you later. And she's really hot, right? Your imaginary girlfriend? Sounds amazing. John knew he should probably just take some more Paxitine and head back to class. Yet, he was still holding on to the paper. He wasn't sure why. It really could be a prank. One of the guys trying to trick him? If so, it would probably be followed by another fake note, asking him to come out under that stupid confession tree where they'd let him wait and then laugh at him. But for just a moment, he saw a girl watching him. Could it have been her? By the time he got to class, John had a new theory. She felt sorry for him. He must have looked pretty pathetic, and she recognized his misguided good intentions enough to feel pity. The rest of the school day passed in more of a blur than usual. He might be delusional, but part of John still hoped it wasn't a prank. He headed to his locker, not daring to imagine anything, and there was another paper waiting there for him. They shouldn't say those things about you. Oh shit. It didn't even look like the same person's handwriting. The first had been beautiful calligraphy. This one was hurried scrawl. If it was all a prank, he no longer had any idea where they were going with this. He'd already been beating himself up. He'd already been beating himself up over saying the wrong thing, so this was too much for John. He headed straight home to get some sleep before he cracked completely. The next day, John went as early as possible and approached his locker anxiously. He wasn't sure what he wanted to find. There was no note this time, but there was a chocolate wrapped in foil, set in the exact center of the bottom of his locker. John stared at it for a while, then slipped it into his pocket and headed to class, even though he knew he would be far too early. There was no way he could eat it. If it was really a prank, they might have slipped laxative or something inside of it, and that was the kind of thing his friends thought was funny. But if it was that girl, it didn't matter now. What mattered was that someone clearly knew his locker combination and could get in whenever they wanted, and that could be a real problem. He knew he should come up with a solution before tomorrow, but what? Let's actually save here. I don't think we really need to, but I'm actually going to leave a note. We'll leave a note. John cut a small piece of paper from one of his notebooks, wrote, "Thanks," on the inside, and set it in his locker. If it was a prank, then not to throw the pranksters off, and if it was someone who meant well, hopefully they'd just take it as a normal gratitude. He headed home, and once his homework was done, quickly fell asleep. The next morning, he thought he spotted someone outside his window, but there was no one there. You know, we haven't really talked about this yet, but if you really did see your whole world in, like, a gray color, and you were already depressed, I think that would make you, like, even more, like, I think it'd be like a spiraling effect, like, it would become even worse for you, you know what I mean? Like, you'd be, like, slowly feel like you're going insane, because, like, I heard if there's a white room effect, like, if you're always surrounded by, like, one color, it, like, really messes with your head. So if that's true, I wonder what that effect would be. I imagine it would just, like, really, really, really fuck with you. When he opened his locker the next day, his note was gone. Making an effort to set the mystery of the locker aside, John went with his friends to the rooftop for lunch. They spread out on one side, enjoying the sight of the trees below. Midway through the meaningless conversation, John noticed that Lizzie was watching him from the far side of the roof. Her gaze was even more intense than before, so he comfortably tried to ignore her and focus on the conversation. Looks like the confession tree is in full bloom, huh? You really believe those stories? True love and all that? It works, man. I've got a buddy who just graduated. He swears he got so much pussy confessing under it. Well, if he kept doing it, then it's not true love, is it? Come on. People have been confessing there for years. You seriously think everyone would confess under the tree if it did nothing? Nah, man. I think it's a tree of lust. It doesn't guarantee true love just getting laid. If that was true, way more guys would be into it. But it's mostly girls from what I've seen. What do you think, John? I don't know. Don't be that way. You dream of a girl confessing to you under that tree, don't you? Yeah, that crazy stalker chick. It'd be like a heart to go all flutter if she confessed, wouldn't it? That tree is magic, man, I'm telling you. Even a sad sack like you could get lucky if you get confessed over there. If you confess there. I can read, guys. I swear. I can read. I can learn. I can fly. Don't be stupid. It's just a tree. Whoa, someone has their panties in a twist. I'm telling everyone goes there too. Only because people like you keep telling them these stories. There's nothing magic about the tree. People just believe it's special because everyone else says it. Girls think the tree is romantic, so of course they're more likely to agree there. And guys would have to turn someone down in front of an audience. That's all there is to it. Shit, man. What is wrong with you today? I don't know if I'm just doing like two very similar voices for the classmates, and I don't know which one's which, but I don't think it matters because they're background characters. If it does bother you, let me know. We can change it. If there's any particular voice... Actually, that's a good idea for extra characters. If you want like certain accents or like kind of wonky voices for background characters, let me know in the comments below, like for the next episode, and I can throw those in there if I can actually do the voices. And notice if you ask for like impressions, I may not be able to do it, but just shoot it at me and I'll give it a shot. That might be a fun idea for the videos. With an attitude like that, you're never going to get a girl. You insulted the tree. I'll cockblock you now. And that day, John couldn't get his therapy appointment fast enough. Miss Smith smiled at him when he came in, but immediately saw he was unhappy. Are you okay, John? Perhaps you should be on a stronger formulation. No. Well, our session should make you feel better. Lie down and get comfortable. Miss Smith, does Paxitine have any visual side effects? It should not. Koitek has the highest standards of every drug it puts out, and Paxitine is nearing its final clinical trials. Are you having any vision problems? John lay back and stared out at the window. Was he really seeing differently, or was it all in his head? He stared a long time before he opened his mouth and just started talking. John, you're seeing gray. Yes, something is wrong. Everything just feels so gray. So you're having vision problems. Not literally gray, it's just the sky today. I remember when I was younger, I always thought clouds were beautiful. Now it's like there's just nothing there. Nothing that matters. I look up, and I just don't care. And that sounds more like a mental issue than... Why don't you get more relaxed and talk about it? Taking a deep breath, John did his best. As usual, after talking with Miss Smith for long enough, he felt not better necessarily, but at least not miserable. Their session went by in a flash, and then he had to head home. He shuffled through his routine easily enough, slept fitfully, and then returned to school, barely more rested. So I don't think I've ever really suffered from depression. I took one of those little tests that did say like mild, but I don't think so. I think it's just stress from work, like a little bit of anxiety. So I can understand like mental stress, like those kind of things, but like actual depression, I'm not sure. But just like if you feel like, because like at least for me, like weekends are my haven. Like when I don't work, I feel really refreshed. I feel good. I feel like good about life. I still sometimes feel tired and fatigued. I think that's just my stress building up. But if you were in that kind of state, I think it would really wear on you as a person. You know what I mean? Like every single day, you just feel, just like nothing means anything. I don't, like, I would need to find some kind of purpose. I understand like sometimes a chemical imbalance in the brain. I don't know how you fix that, but if you do suffer from these things, definitely seek help. You know what I mean? Just make sure you're seeking it from the right places. Anyhow, I got a little heavy. Let's get back to it. But when he arrived, he found a huge crowd standing and staring. What's going on? You know that tree students like to confess under? The words made John shiver, even though he wasn't entirely sure why. He shifted to look through the crowds, and there he saw it. Is it on fire? I think I remember it being on fire. Yep. Wow. Lizzie sure does know how to do things in a blazy fashion. Parts of the tree were still burning, but the rest was char and ashes coated the ground near it. His throat was dry, as if all the ashes were filling it. What happened? By the way, guys, water cold approved. Get your water. Make sure you're drinking. Make sure you stay hydrated. If you're watching the video right now and you don't have water with you, get some water. Drink it. This is good. The cops are coming to check it out, but the shop teacher said it looked like arson. Someone covered the tree in gasoline and burned it down. See, this is why we need cameras. I've been telling the principal for years. But does he listen to me? No. No one thinks... The words slid off his mind, and John turned away, without even saying goodbye. Not entirely sure what he was doing, he stumbled straight to his locker. When he opened his locker, he discovered a folded note, set in the exact center, like always. He stared at it for a long moment before unfolding it with trembling hands. I didn't like that tree either. It was her. It had to be. None of his friends would be that insane. And what would be the point of a prank like that? And see, my problem with that is the tree actually, I like. We don't have them here, but I do like those kind of trees. They're very pretty. I think they're nice, very very aesthetically pleasing. So it's a little sad that they would burn down the tree, even if it does annoy them, the whole ritual thing that people do there. But still, it's a little sad. Tear. But what was the point for her? What did she think she'd accomplish? Should he tell someone? But this wasn't exactly evidence, and did he really want her to get in that much trouble? John decided he was being stupid. Like usual, he just needed to talk to her and find out exactly what was going on. Put an end to this. That day, whenever he was in the hallways, he could feel her eyes on him. With every passing moment, he became more sure that she had burned the tree down. He wondered if a normal person would be afraid now. But for him, it barely penetrated his numbness. He just wanted to find out what was wrong and put an end to it. Also, guys, I just want to comment about this, Yandere is for normal people, I think, in real life would be bad. But if you're someone like John, this John, who has, severe depression and just, it's really hard for you to get through each day, having someone like that, again, I'm not a professional, but I wonder if it would actually be bad in that case. If maybe it would actually be helpful in the sense that you have someone that you can always depend on, even if it is kind of crazy. And also, from he doesn't really have any real friends. Like, he has those classmates, but I mean, friends do bust each other's balls, but they just seem to always like kind of, I don't know. They don't seem like real friends to me. So I think he's safe in that regard too. And he doesn't have any close family. Like, he has his dad, but he doesn't really associate with him. And his mom left, so I think he's in the perfect spot for that kind of thing. And I wonder if that's what the author was kind of going for here. It took until after school for him to find his chance. When the teacher handed out assignments, he volunteered to clean the roof. John stepped onto the roof and headed to the far side. After a few seconds, he headed to the door. He heard the door open again. He ignored it and instead climbed up to the tank. The upper area was meant to be blocked off, but the janitors had stopped putting up the ladder years ago. He turned, and to his shock, she was already coming up the ladder behind him. Reaching the top, she held her hands close to her chest and shuffled her feet demurely, but there was a spark in her eyes. "Hello, Lizzie. Are you never going to greet me?" "Hello. I said it. Why are you following me?" "Because I like..." Could this girl have burned down the tree? It didn't seem like she had it in her. "Were you the one leaving me notes in my locker?" "Yes." "How did you know my combination?" "I watched you. You left me a note. It was almost too much. I took it home, and I'll keep it forever and ever and ever." John realized that he was in way over his head, yet his mouth was still moving, asking the inevitable question. "Why did you burn it down?" "Because it was a stupid tree. You're so smart. You said it just right. It was awful and stupid, and I hated and hated and hated and hated and hated and hated. It's all because of you, John. I could never do what needed to be done before. Now I can." She wasn't stable. She wasn't even close. What had he gotten himself into? "I finally found you. You're the only one for me." Part of him knew that he should do something. Run away, call for help, yet... why? Huh? Why do you care about me? How could you ask that? You're the best person. The only person. Bullshit. I'm just another high school boy. No, not even that. I'm worthless. No. Don't say that. It's not true. It's not. I'm broken. My brain doesn't work right. And even the strongest drugs don't make a difference. No, that's not true, John. It's perfect. Perfect. How can you say those things? The way her words flowed together, addressing him directly one moment and in third person the next, bothered him almost as much as the look in her eyes. Whatever her issue was, it went deep. "You're not well, Lizzie. You need help." You said my name." "But I can't help you. I'm not worth anything to anyone. Just forget about me and find someone else to care about." No, I could never. You're the only person who matters." See, that's something I wrote notes about in my future video plans. I don't know if I actually made a video about this yet, but the kind of yanderes I like are the ones that truly only go for one person. Because there are some yanderes who they will go for one person for a bit, and then after they kill them or something like that, they'll find a new person, and those are the ones I hate. Those might go along pretty well with being crazy, but I don't like those ones. They're not appealing to me at all. But the ones that actually see you as the only person, literally the only person they care about, there's something appealing about that, no matter how crazy it is. I know in real life it'd be really crazy and a little scary, but in a fictional world, I think it's a fun idea. But why? You don't even know me. You don't care about me. I'm just part of your problem. No. It would be better if I was gone. Maybe you'd get better then. That's not true. It's not. I love you. John, I've always loved you. I've watched you. Always. You're so good and kind and perfect, and even to a girl like me. He could barely even listen to her words. John found himself wandering closer and closer to the side of the building, and she followed him automatically. You know, I don't know, like, see, this is the thing that was mouse about, like, art versus, like, story sometimes. Because, like, they kept saying she was creepy and all that, but, like, the art for her is really, really beautiful, you know what I mean? Like, she's, like, a really pretty girl. I'm like, even if she was crazy, I think guys would still, like, you know, think that she's pretty, but they didn't even talk about that at the beginning, so it's kind of weird. And yeah, I've seen other ones where they describe, like, the girl's, like, super pretty even though she's not, but maybe it's just my aesthetic, but I like the way she looks. You're so sad, but you're still kind. I don't know how. You should be broken, like me, but you... I can't help you. If you want help yourself... If you want to help yourself, you need to forget about me and get real help. No. No. Don't say that. You're confused. Yes, confused. Poor John is so depressed. He's not thinking straight. He just doesn't understand how much I love him. He needs my help. The world froze for a moment as the knife glinted, and all he could do was stare at its edge. You just need someone to take care of you. I'll stop everyone who says unkind things about you. No, I should just take you home and keep you there safe. Yes, you just need some help. Where the hell had she gotten that knife? Would she actually use it on me? Use it on him? A second later, John realized that was a foolish thought. This girl had burned down a tree because he said it was stupid. He had no idea if there were any limits on what she might do. And would that really matter? He'd spent nights lying in bed, wishing he had never been born. Wishing he had a way to end it all. You can't threaten me. John, get away from the edge. It's not safe. He took several steps to the very edge before she could stop him, and turned around to face her. The back end of his shoes hung off the edge of the building, nothing between him and his fatal fall. My life matters so much to you? Stop toying around with me. No, you don't understand. What do you even want? Stab me until I'm yours forever? Is that it? Never, John. So good and kind. I would never need to stab him. Please come away. I'll take good care of you. You can't. Maybe you have good intentions, but you need help, and unless you get it, you can only hurt me. I will. Whatever you want. I promise. Just don't hurt yourself. It was a lie, of course. She was just saying whatever it took to get me to step away from the edge. It was exactly how he'd imagined it would go. He'd stand on the edge and everyone would just say all kinds of lies about how much he mattered to him, how much he mattered to them, because they'd care for the first time, not about him, but about the idea of him. But the look in her eyes, that couldn't be faked. It might be a twisted love, but she loved him utterly. She needed help too. Maybe he could be the one to help her, assuming she didn't stab him. But what the hell was he living for anyway? Lizzie, would you make a promise with me? A promise? I'll step away. I'll talk to you, or let you leave notices in my locker, or whatever it is you want. But you have to listen to me and get some help. Can you do that? You promise? You won't leave me if I say yes? No, I won't leave you, Lizzie. Forever? The answer stuck in his throat, and he hesitated, wondering if he wasn't making a mistake and saying too much. But in the end, he swallowed and nodded. Forever. Now, set down the knife, and I'll... Whoops. And he started to step away. John lost his balance and fell backwards. Suddenly, he was in free fall, nothing between him and cold pavement. Oh dear. Is that the face you make when you're saving someone? I'll take it. Like I said, I like Yandere faces. They're kind of my jam. But But again, we are at 40 minutes. I was going to try to get to the end of the scene, but this is kind of a long scene, so we're actually going to go ahead and end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, my commentary mixed in there. Some of the things I talked about in there, though, I still want to hear back from you guys. Should we go forward with having you guys comment about what voices you want? If we can get enough people responding, that'd be great. This video actually may go up before the end of Kill or Love because we're still waiting on the like goal. If I do post this before, it is, again, 8 likes to get it there. By the way, I do now have a Twitch. So if you want to go watch me stream, which I will stream fairly regularly starting soon, I'll be streaming Valkyria Chronicles on weekdays, and on weekends I should be streaming Among Us. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day or night. Love you guys. Laters.